afternoon to everyone. We have got only 45 members joined in our platform, but it's already 10 minutes late. Sir is waiting. So let us just begin at the last, which is valuable session on assessment. I shall just share my screen to Mrs. Chaitanya, and over to Chaitanya.
A very good afternoon to one and all. Now we enter to the final session of our online FTP program, New Frontiers in English Language Teaching, organized by the Division of English of Freshman Engineering LBRC. It has been an enriching academic journey. We sincerely appreciate your continuous participation and commitment. I'm sure you will all enjoy this afternoon as it will focus on the important theme of assessment. Without any delay, I welcome our esteemed resource person, honorable dignitaries, respected faculty members and coordinators, and the participants join us today. It is my privilege to welcome Dr. Sanjay Kumar Gupta, sir, an eminent professional from Cambridge University Press and Assessment Indian Private Limited. For further elaborate on a profile of our esteemed resource person, I request Mr. V. Vamsi Krishna, Assistant Professor of English, to kindly introduce our distinguished resource person. Sir, over to you, sir.
Hello. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So Sanjay sir has worked for 17 years as a student facilitator and teacher educator in English language education. After completing his MPhil in ELT, he worked as a lecturer in a teacher training institute in Bengaluru for 3 years, and later as a teaching assistant and as a teaching associate in University of Iowa and USA and IIM Ahmedabad. As a freelancer, Sir has organized several professional development workshops for corporates and educators. He has been awarded the Professional Development Workshops for Corporates and Educators. He has been awarded the Fulbright Foreign Language Teaching Assistant Scholarship by the University of Iowa in 2004. He also attended professional enrichment seminars organized by Fulbright at Florida, Washington, D.C., and New Orleans, USA. Sir has worked as a freelance training consultant on a range of teacher training projects in Assam, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Delhi, Gujarat, Karnataka, Kerala, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, and West Bengal. He has been associated in various capacities with several reputed organizations and institutions, including RIE Bangalore, IIM Ahmedabad, and Gandhinagar PDPU, SNL Financial, Cambridge University Press India, British Council, RELO, US Embassy, Delhi, and NGO Pratham Gujarat. Sir has presented papers in several national and international level conferences in ELT and offered short-term ELT and communication courses, modules for various schools, universities, and organizations. Sir also has conducted professional development workshop for CUP India in Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, and Gujarat, and validated to the report of Yuva English program run by CLR and Tech Mahindra. His special interests include teacher education, language testing, and management communication. And yes, sir, we welcome you. Yes, over to you, madam.
Thank you, sir, for your graceful introduction. It is now time my privilege to invite Dr. Sanjay Kumar Gupta, sir, to deliver the session. Sir, we welcome you, sir. The platform is yours.
Thank you so much to all the organizers of this FDP program, and it's a privilege to be part of this FDP. I was there when the inauguration took place. I was there for Professor Venkat Reddy's session, so I could see some of the participants and happy to see some of the familiar faces. Uh, I'll be just sharing my slide, and I'll take you through the agenda. I thank the Department of English for Lucky Reddy College, Engineering College for organizing this FTP. It's a great opportunity for all of us to be able to interact and connect through this medium. We have 50 plus participants, and I had floated a Google Sheet and I got the responses. I'll be sharing that response with you as well. This session is on innovative assessment procedures, so we'll talk about that. Before we do that, let me just share with you what has been the outcome of the Google Sheet that I shared with you, and thank you so much for participating. Um it's wonderful to see, large number of participants have. Let me see if I can share that screen with you. The outcomes. Yeah.
He wants to share
Can you?
screen.
Yeah. Is the screen visible to you?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So we
Yes,
can
sir.
see instantly the reactions. 66% participants have said they are familiar with the CFR scales, which is good. Absolutely fine for those who are not familiar or who are not sure about it. We will talk about it. I brought this up because we'll be using these terms and it's good to know. Portfolio building, a large percentage have said yes to it, so which is very good to know. We also have assessment of learning, for learning, and as learning. So large majority have said, yes to it, which is very good to see. Of course, formative and assessment summative is 95% have said yes to it, and templates for making assessments. So this is an area I think majority will benefit. We'll talk about it. What are some of those websites, free and paid ones, which we can use and make our life easier. So we'll talk about it, uh, and then we have something to do with criterion reference assessment. What is it, and so on, and why is it important to us? So that's about the outcome. That gives me a feel of where we stand. 42 participants have taken part of it out of 54, which is very good. I'm glad we are able to get this response from all the participants. I'll be going back to share my slide with you. As we had discussed it yesterday also, it would be good to have participants take part in this exercise. When we present this in this, FDP becomes meaningful when we have people who are taking part in this session. So feel free to be a participant in the session, because that's what makes it a very valuable exercise, right? Hope my slide is visible to you,
Yeah, sir. It's
right?
visible. Yeah.
Okay. So now we'll move on to, you have filled in this form. What is the agenda today? I'm going to talk about four main things. We'll discuss purpose of assessment. We'll talk about descriptors of performance. I'll talk about CFR a little more in detail, and also ALTE. We'll talk about metacognition and role of learners in assessment. So you mentioned about the rubric makers. You saw it in the Excel sheet that we talked, Google form that we have circulated, and we'll talk about portfolio building. It could be physical, e-portfolio, blogs, or podcasts. So I'll be talking about these four main things. We are at 2:20, and another hour or so, we will be going through these four, and I'd love to have you participate as much as you can, and raise your hand if you would like me to stop, clarify certain things. So that's perfectly fine. Um, Let's move on now to, while we talk about this, I would refer to these 4 5 experiences that I have. One of the things that happens, I have seen in teacher training programs, is the moment you talk about something, the question comes, is it practical? Can it be done? So I'm a practitioner. Um, my work has been with teachers, students at various age groups and contexts. So these are the four that I have brought it up on the screen for your reference. One is my long experience with teaching in a engineering, in a management institute, engineering and management. So I was teaching there for a couple of years, and the second one, an NGO experience where I was teaching students. I was training teachers who were working with the students. So the experiments, the new innovations in assessment, which I'm going to talk about, will be from these experiences that uh, the opportunity that I had to practice the innovations that I'm going to talk about. So it's not just theory. When I say something, I'll be able to quote these examples and you can ask also further more questions. So those who are, I can see the audience here, they come from various background, varied background. So there are professors from engineering colleges, there are researchers, there are teachers. So this is a true faculty development program from various backgrounds. So my own corporate training experience span over a decade, where I was able to work with different age groups. Faculty development program, ongoing faculty development program in various institutions, face to face, long term, short term, and learning teaching material development with Cambridge University Press and others, where I was part of developing content or designing the framework for it, and my own experience of working in University of Iowa as a Fulbrighter. So I'll be dwelling on these experience. So my experience of innovations that I talk about in assessment will come from one of these 5 6 that I have listed. Portfolio, for example, when I talk about it, I'll be dwelling more on uh, the practical experience exposure that I had with working with that NGO. So now let's move on to the, now could I ask the participants? I'll be talking about
Please,
my experience.
sir,
Yes,
excuse me, sir.
yes.
Please, all the participants, please mute your systems. Mute your systems, please. It is disturbing, sir, while presenting. Please, all the participants, mute your systems. Thank you, sir, for allowing.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks so much for that reminder. So here is an opportunity where I'd like you to participate. I'll share my experience. I told you I'm there. I'll be referring to those 5 experiences that I had, my innovative practices in assessment. But before I do that, could I ask some of the participants to share specifically something that you did try in English language assessment and that worked well for you, or something that you are trying, you are struggling? So if you could, one or two people, if they can volunteer and share their some practice in assessment which they think is going very well, they are proud of it, or something that they are struggling with. Can I have some volunteers, please? So in engineering college, if you are teaching, or if you are teaching in a college or a school, you must be conducting assessment. How do you go about it? What is it that you find interesting? Is there something that you find interesting? Is there a challenge that you come across? So this is what I want you to share. There's no right and wrong answer to it, so please don't hesitate. Uh, and the administrators will unmute you when you volunteer to speak. Maybe you can raise your hand and they can see and unmute you and allow you to speak. So please, I would love to listen to you.
So may I?
Yes, please
Yes.
go ahead. Introduce
Sir,
yourself
in
and carry on.
okay, sir, my name is Dr. Reena. I am a school teacher in Delhi government.
Mhm.
So we practice assessment of speaking and listening, uh, formative and summative assessments,
Right.
and regular classroom assessments through observation or peer group rating,
Right.
like this.
Oh, excellent. Dr. Reena, you mentioned peer group rating. I think all the participants would like to hear a little more about peer group rating that you practice and how has been your experience. You are talking about working in a Delhi government setup. So it's a setup that a lot of people struggle, not just in Delhi, across the country. So if you could share a little bit more about it.
Uh,
Mhm,
Sir, by peer group rating, I mean like while conducting some of group activities,
mhm.
uh, we make a scale and we ask the students to rate each other
Right.
whether they were helpful, whether they participated well,
Mhm.
whether everyone was cooperative during the exercise,
Right.
like this. A rating scale is made in which the rating is given from 1 to 5, and on that rating scale the students give numbers or marks each other, and like this they participate in this.
Excellent. Very good. So that was one example of peer group rating. And thank you, Dr. Reena, for sharing your experience. Similarly, if anybody else would like to share, I think that's a good start we have, where we got to hear one of the practices where the teacher, the students are participants in assessing each other, assessing self, or using a criterion, using a scale. So that's wonderful. Very good to hear that. Anybody else would like to share?
Sir, can
Yeah,
I?
please, please, ma'am, go ahead.
Sir, while training our students in communication skills lab, we make them participate in group discussions. Almost 7 to 10 people sit together, they discuss on something, and rest of the students would just note down the lacunae or the missed out points or the points to be questioned, and that's how they start criticizing, positively and negatively about the presenters. But
Yeah,
later we take the inputs and we put them into, along with our criticism, either positive or negative, we put them into 7 point scale, and then we convert them into marks, and then we assess them like that in lab.
right. So that's another thank you, ma'am, for sharing that experience
Thank
of
you.
working, allowing students to do peer assessment and giving them. So when you do that, that the students themselves get to see what are the descriptors, what are the scales that they need to look at it. You mentioned they give feedback to each other on the positive, also on the areas of improvement. So while they do give feedback, they are looking at positive. So when they go and perform, at least that will pinch them. I should also do this because I have identified this quality in others. Or if I have said somebody, you need to improve the way you structure your argument. So when I do the presentation, I should be able to structure my presentation as well. So this is a kind of a self-awareness raising that you do with your student, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing that experience. And you said that the faculty members sit and moderate that, put it on a 7 point scale. So we'll talk about conversion on scale and how it is useful and so on. So it is a mixture where the faculty and the student put together, both of them take part in assessment. And that's a very good thing to happen. Yeah. Uh, can we have here some more voices, please? See, the faculty development program or any training program is supposed to be interactive. If it is a lecture, then you can type it the same content in, the content is available on ChatGPT or you have Perplexity, will give you loads of content. What makes these sessions interesting is we are able to discuss in front of 60 people. So we may agree, we may disagree, we may have a different perspective. So it's possible only when we participate. So I'm happy to wait for the participants to come and participate, and then we will talk about some of the things. Yeah.
So
So few more.
meanwhile,
Yes, please.
meanwhile, I want to, you also asked us to talk about our challenges.
Yes. Yes.
Assessing writing in classroom within an hour, we have 60
Correct.
minutes class.
Yes.
Assessing writing of every child in class is a big challenge for us, sir. So
Yes.
we ask them to exchange books, and we just give some inputs and then say you judge your friends write up, and that is how we go about. But we are not completely 100% happy about that sort of assessment, and that is our challenge, sir. Right, assessing writing in a classroom of 60 or 66 members. That's the
Correct.
input we have per hour. That's
Yes.
the challenge I have got. I mean, we have got as teachers of engineering.
And very genuine what you have said just now about teaching writing and the challenge of assessing. And if the students do not receive feedback and they are not able to be, they are not assessed properly and so on, these same students go on develop the habit of cut and paste. They have studied for 15 years for English, but when it comes to simple writing, they depend on copy paste or they ask Chat GPT to write it for them. So the system, the challenge that you have raised is something which is very valid. So we have a lot of countries, we hear research studies abroad where there are large classes of 20, 25. So we are talking about 60. So how does the teacher pay attention to 60 and be able to give individual feedback and be able to work with them on their improvement and so on? So you are looking at assessment not just by giving score. You are saying, what do I do? How does this assessment help my students to grow? And how do I make it practical, feasible to do it for 60 group of 60 students? So yeah, that's a unique challenge. This is where, see, you are concerned because you are concerned about the quality of their writing. Had it been multiple choice questions, you wouldn't bother because that can be scanned. The QR code, you can put it through a scanner, and all those choices, multiple choices, can be easily identified. But when you're talking about uh, descriptive writing, and you are looking at giving them feedback to improve, even if you say out of 20 you give them, let's say, 15 marks, or somebody gets a 10 marks, how do you define what is 15, what is 10, and what is 20? And the child or the students who gets 10 should know what is it that I need to do to be able to get it 15. What if I want to aim at 20, or somebody who gets a 3 out of 20? We give them numbers, students go home and tell their parents, I got 3 out of 20. Somebody says I got 17 out of 20. But do we exactly have a definition of what is 70, what is 3, and what is 10? So we are talking about descriptors of performance. How do we do that? Number one. Number two, is it doable? Is it practical to do it with a group of 60 students? And what is it that we can do about it? So maybe I'm parking that question as a very valid question, and how the students can be helped on that front as well. Yes, ma'am has given us two, input. One, she talked about how groups take care in speaking for their assessment and helping them and developing their presentation. And second, in terms of writing. Can we have some other participant? Dr. Reena has spoken about her experience of peer, assessment. Anybody else would like to share their experience of assessment, either in teaching or training, or teaching young learners?
So we have got 61 participants on board.
Yes.
Please respond.
Yeah, we are all used to silence in class, isn't it? So it's very common that we all come across. Yeah, few more seconds. I think we should allow people to, you know, uh, formulate their question. And so the question that I had asked you to contribute is procedure in assessment, that has worked for you, you find it useful, or you find it challenging, something that you do for English language teaching in assessment particularly. What has worked for you, or what is it that you are struggling with? All right, so we move on from there. So this concept of assessment of learning, for learning, and as learning. This is something that has been going around for quite some time now, and I thought it would be good if we have some clarity on what do these terms mean. Do they mean anything? Are they different? So when we say assessment, uh, okay, so let me just stop sharing this for you and ask if we are talking about assessment of learning. What do we mean by assessment of learning? We'll come to this.
So may I?
Yeah, please.
So this is Dr. Veena.
Yes,
Assessment of learning means which is done as summative assessment at the end of the unit to determine whether the learning objectives have been achieved or not.
right. So that is the objective of assessment of learning, isn't it? So it is, you rightly pointed out, it is something in summative in nature. And that, and what is the purpose of carrying out this assessment? What purpose does it serve?
Sir, to see whether the learning objectives have been achieved or not, and if they are not achieved, then a remedial action plan may be carried out. And
Right.
yeah, thank
Excellent.
you.
Very good. So what you are saying is it is something for a teacher to reflect whether the learning has taken place, to what extent it has been, if there are gaps, how can I fill it, and so on. So this is what you think is you know what happens when we are looking at the assessment, right? Now let's look at assessment of learning. Now, can you just read this and tell me what is formative and what is summative about these?
So may I?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead. You please go ahead, and anybody else after you, Dr. Veena, others also can join. Yes, please.
So formative assessment is carried out during teaching or a lesson or a unit, and summative assessment is something which is carried out the year or end of the unit or end of the course.
So the
Formative
exam,
assessment is the purpose of formative assessment may be to give feedback to plan remedial action, and summative is something which is to give or to promote students from one grade to another grade.
right, right. Now, yes. So when you look at this example on your screen, what does this tell you?
So this tells that the cook tastes the food, that is formative. It means there are chances that he may find some कुछ उसको कमी लग सकती है. He may find some fault in that, and he may improve upon it. And when
Right,
the guest tastes the soup, that is the end activity. After that, there will not be any chances of improvement. So that will be the summative.
right. Yeah. So,
Sir, may I, sir?
yeah, please go ahead. Yes.
Sir, during the courses, depending upon the students, we are going to have different plans and different types of executive. But
Right,
whether the plans executed or not, we are going to know at the end of the course. That is summative, sir.
right, right. Excellent. So, what happens when we are looking at, when we are at the formative stage, what are the possibilities and what is the possibility at the summative stage?
So, at the possibilities at the formative stage are about feedback, remedial, and improvement.
Right.
And
Yes. And when we are at the
yes,
summative,
sir. And at the summative, maybe grading, maybe assigning the next task or the next grade or something.
Right. Yes. So, the Shweta, you wanted to say something. Please go ahead, Shweta.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank
Welcome.
you. Sir, in fact, this is a very beautiful example that you have given, a lovely analogy. It's as per my understanding, what I have understood is summative is the measurement of what we have done, so how much we have accomplished. So next time when we have to prepare a similar recipe, we will make some changes in the ingredients or in the recipe itself to
Mhm.
get better results.
Right. Okay. Okay. So, what we are looking at is there is a possibility in formative to keep improvising. Yeah. Uh, Now the question is in the summative stage, to what extent and how many of teachers make use of that summative to keep it as a spiral, as a loop for the next time to build it as an input. So we have a quarterly assessment, we have term one and we have term two. Many a times in school, as parents or as teachers, as students, you must have experienced this. There is a parent teacher meeting, or you send students give the reports of quarter one or quarter two, and the results say that the child has got out of 180 or 50. But what about 50, and what about that 80? Where is that gap? How does the child interpret, or how does a parent interpret the gap between 50, 80 and 100? So what the parent do, or the we as teachers, are as a novice, those who are not aware of it, we compare, okay, how many students in your class got 80 out of 100? So our reference points becomes how many got it and where you stand. So if you are in the top 10, you think, okay, you are doing well, or top 3 and so on. So we start comparing with others rather than looking at what is the value of that. So what do you get today for 50 rupees? You go to buy some vegetables. So what is it that you get for 50 rupees in India? Let's say same rupee you take 50 rupees, and what is the currency value of 50 rupees Indian currency in Nepal, for example? You look at the values would be different. So the numbers in themselves do not say much about it. You see, so when we are talking about getting 50 out of 100, is there a descriptor of what is 50? And if that is, then when we are looking at the second term, we can say, okay, this was achieved, this is what is not achieved to be able to do better, and so on. So excellent. Thank you for uh, drawing the distinction. Let's move on now. So in assessment, what you're saying is teacher's role is not just to report to the students that you got this marks, 10 marks or 20 out of 20 and so on. So the teacher is also a mentor, as ma'am was talking about her experience of teaching 60 students. She's not just bothered about giving them marks and going home. You get 12 out of 20 and that's all that I can say. She's saying, how do I help them if they have got 12? How can they get 15 next time? How they can get 20 next time? Why not 20 out of 20? So as a mentor, she is concerned about not just giving a numerical figure, but she's talking about how to bring about a change, improvement in performance, and so on. Also teacher's role as a guide. uh, we all are supposed to act as an accountant at times, because we have semesters to complete, courses have to run, and the students have to be taken from one grade to another, and therefore some role as an accountant is justifiable. That's something that we cannot avoid it. We are in a system, it has to go year after year and so on. Or a recruitment, certain students have to appear for selection, job, and so on. So role of an accountant as a teacher is something that we understand. We do it as a part of our job, which dealing with large number of students. But then there is also the teacher's role as program director, whether the instructions, learning is taking place. How can I make it better? What is it that I can do so that my students improve? If that is the concern the teacher has, then we need to look at it, teacher's role and assessment in a broader perspective, and we will go through more in depth about the teacher role. So we looked at three concepts, features of assessment of learning. As Dr. Reena mentioned, it is about judgment, about where they stand, summative assessment, where they stand with reference to others. There are 60 students, so you place them on a bell curve or whatever curve you follow. You have students who are excelling somewhere, those who are midway, and some of them who are lagging behind. But when we talk about assessment for learning, then we are looking at assessment in a different way. How is this different when we say assessment for learning? Can somebody, would somebody like to talk about it? Assessment of learning has been in practice for a long time. What is the emerging things are coming in our way to understand is assessment. Now, assessment is used for learning. We are using assessment as a tool to learn. Uh, just give you an example. You like it or not, assessment dictates learning in some way. So today, students who are preparing for JEE and so on, they keep aside a lot of syllabus and learning, and they focus on the MCQs and questions and so on. Uh, Not that they do not like physics, chemistry, and so on. So they are more concerned about being able to score well on those exams. So the the joint entrance exam dictates how the learning takes place in the classroom at the intermediate level. So any of these exams, if you need to go abroad, you need to take an exam, and that dictates what kind of learning should happen in the classroom. So various forces dictate on what should be the part of learning. When we make an assessment for learning, we are looking at how do we use assessment as a tool for learning. Would somebody like to say something on this? How can we use assessment for learning? What does it do? When I say I'm not going to look at assessment only of learning to measure how much students have learned, I'm going to
Yes, sir.
use it for learning.
When multiple groups of students
Sir,
are there, sir,
Yes,
there
two
this assessment
participants
for
are saying
learning. Yeah.
yes.
so this is Dr. Reena.
Okay, yes,
So assessment for learning is an ongoing process which happens throughout the learning and teaching process. And
right,
here feedback is used to improve students' performance, and accordingly the teacher may improve upon his or her teaching strategies also.
right, right. Somebody else
It
was
is
adding.
used to, yeah.
Yes, yes, Dr. Rina, please continue. After you are done, there was one other gentleman, he was trying to say something. I wanted him to continue. After you.
Sir,
Yeah,
it is used to close the gap between what students have achieved and what the teacher has planned to as learning objective or the goal.
right, sure.
Yes, sir. Namaste, sir. This is Dr. Srinivas.
Yes,
Uh,
Dr. Srinivas, please go ahead.
yes, sir. This is assessment for learning is actually future oriented. I mean, uh, it's not just assessing what has happened, but
Hmm,
what could happen in the future and in which direction that learning could take place.
right,
Actually, even earlier, actually, primary classes also we used to have entrance tests,
right,
wherein depending upon that also sections also could be directed. And presently, the corporate schools are doing that. I
hmm,
mean, toppers are sent to IIT-based trainings, and mediocres are for MSET, I mean, state level engineering tests.
true.
And I mean, these tests are being done to assess their capabilities for a future pursuits, of course.
Hmm,
Maybe, as Dr. Reena suggested, even during our regular teaching process, also for remedial purposes and to reflect upon our own teaching, also,
hmm,
we do this assessment for learning so
hmm,
that we can change the mode of teaching methods, or what you can say, the standard of the material or grouping of the students to provide them extra support also. It is future oriented. That's what I feel, sir.
Right, right. Professor Srinivas, thank you for bringing that perspective that look how assessment, we take it casually, but how is it determining where students are placed in certain sections. They are privileged, some are put to a disadvantage, or some are given a priority, some are not given. That is one aspect of assessment when you look at it. And then there is a progressive aspect of it, that you use it for learning. You use assessment as a tool, as something that will take you forward, and so on. So there are different ways of looking at it. Anybody else would like to add something before we move on? So assessment for learnings offers an alternative perspective. If you look at it from the traditional assessment in schools, uh, what it does is it shifts the emphasis from summative to formative. That's number one. So when we are looking at for learning, we are looking at shifting the emphasis, and also it is looking at creating descriptions that can be used in different stages of learning. So you are using assessment for learning purposes. And if we go back the previous examples that we looked at it, when ma'am was talking about how the students sit in groups, they have been given tools, descriptors of performance on a scale of 7, or some performance. So they use those scales. And what are they using the scale for? They are using it for their own learning. So instead of teachers saying you should have organized your presentation, you should use your voice, you should use a wide range of vocabulary and so on. So if you're talking about it, you gave those criterion to the students and say, look, give feedback to your peers. Now, you created assessment, you will give them marks out of 7 on a scale of 7. But what the students are doing, using those 7 and improving themselves. Yeah. So right, okay, so let's move on from there. And when we move on now, how is it different? Assessment for learning is different from assessment as learning. Anybody would like to add?
Sir, shall I?
Yes, please go ahead.
So, assessment of learning or assessment for learning. Now, if I just assess my present performance and if I could improvise my next session or next program, that is assessment for, assessment of learning. That's what I mean.
You rightly said, what you are describing is assessment as a learning. So you are
Yes,
using self-assessment. You said, I'll use this session to improve
yes,
my next session. So what I
yes,
become is, I become a self-evaluator. I'm
yes,
evaluating myself. So
yes.
I'm not waiting for a teacher or an external person to give me input. They can give me input, but I'm also using my own checklist for me to see where I stand. So that's you are using assessment as a learning for self, and you are taking responsibility for your learning. That is what largely happen in assessment as learning. So increasingly, you would see the teachers are giving the students descriptors of their performance, and I'll give you examples as we go forward as to how this is being used for students to check themselves. So there was a time when appraisals were done by others. Now we are looking at self-appraisals. See, university colleges are being asked to do a self-appraisal. We do a self-appraisal. Why not somebody else doing it? Somebody else can do it, but they have to police you, ask you, did you do this? Did you do this? And you say yes or no, you submit evidence. But if you take it as yourself, you are doing it, then you are conscious. First, you need to understand what you are being assessed on, and then you provide evidences of your learning. You gather it if you don't have it. So, onus shifts from a group or external to more of a self. You are working towards your own progress and so on. Yeah. So personal goals and standards you set for yourself. Now let's look at it. Maybe this will help a little bit to summarize the discussion that we have. In when we are talking about of learning, largely it looks like we are looking at a summative part of it, what type of assessment is suitable, whereas for and as learning is more on formative in nature. What happens during these phases? The teacher determines. In the assessment of learning, when we are talking about for and as, you can see gradually the the onus is shifting more towards the students themselves. Teacher becomes a more a supportive role. So who does it? In the off learning, which is what we have been practicing for a long time, teacher led classroom, teacher dominated, teacher talk time. We said that now we need to move from teacher dominated to student centered learning. So student centered learning, when we are talking about, we also need to say how are we going to make it student driven assessment. So student centered learning, student centered assessment. And if we say something as a center, then we are saying it is in the middle of it. So if we are keeping students at the center, then they take the ownership of deciding their learning progress and so on. How do we do it? I'm not going to elaborate on this part, but this, you have the reference, you can look at it later as to what are the differences between off learning, for learning, and as learning. And as Professor Srinivas said, we need to look for future and move towards more for learning and as learning. So let's look at now, if you look at the pyramid in the form, so there is this assessment. So, at the bottom of the pyramid, in our current practice, if we look at it, large part of assessment is of assessment of learning. So we have yearly exams, quarterly exams, and so on. The question papers are set by the teachers. Uh, could I ask here in this group of 74 people, how many of you have conducted exams where you had open text exams? How many of you have conducted, exams where you had open textbook exam, and second, students were invited to frame the questions? We take pride in saying student-centered learning. Have we enabled? Yes, Dr. Preeti, if you could share your experience, please.
Good afternoon,
Yes.
sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Please go ahead, share your experience of.
I'm from Kota, Rajasthan,
Right,
and as everybody is aware, that Kota is education city where a lot of students from across the city they are coming here for the preparation. So
right,
here the coaching culture is very much in.
right,
So 2 years back, we decided to have open book textbook assessment for students of class 11th and 12th because
right,
the students are not were not able to come to the school on the regular basis because of their coaching schedule.
right.
Coachings were generally of 6 to 7 hours
Mhm.
on the regular basis for the students. So it was not possible for them to attend the school on regular basis. So assessments they were appearing for. So we conducted these examinations. So on the very first year, we were facing difficulty. What kind of difficulty? Our questions were not concept based. Our questions were direct from the chapter. So it
Right,
was easy for them to answer. But later
right,
on, we decided that since CBSE has also introduced the percentage of concept based questions is more now. So we started giving exam questions concept based where we were merging two chapters and we were asking for the answers so that they can use their creative critical thinking, etc. So I think from before 2 years we were struggling with this, but now I think students are also enjoying
right.
exploring the books,
Sure.
and the questions are objective type of questions, not very lengthy ones.
Right. So Dr. Preeti brought out a very interesting perspective. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your experience. And
Thank you.
see, when we say open textbook or we say question paper designed by students, what we are talking about is opening a Pandora's box. How are we going to manage it? 60 students are there and so on. But I have tried it and I'll ask you, I'll share with you. I told you those 5 contexts and I'll share my experience. One of the things that becomes a challenge is when you say open textbook, students open and they get the factual question. If you ask factual questions, obviously the students can go and locate the answer. Page 3 has this content page, they can look at it and they can get the answer. So the point is open textbooks. This was a practice at EFLU, CFL when I was a student, and that's what I was introduced 25 years ago on open book. So we would carry 5, 6 books to the exam. Let's say our exam was on sociolinguistics, and we would carry 6 books of phonetics, sociolinguistics, subject-wise, but none of the answers are available there. How much you open the books, you wouldn't get the answer. The questions were all application-based, or you had interpretations to do, or you had extrapolation to do. The answers are, they take off from there, but they are not there. You need to use your imagination, creativity, reading in between to able to get that answer. So that is an art. Now, we as teachers, we need training on how to frame questions which are not factual, which are evaluative, which are inferential, which are extrapolative in nature. Now, getting training for us and students, is it going to be useful? Students are going to appear for exam like joint entrance and other exams where they are all getting questions in MCQ format. Last 5 years, 10 years questions they memorize. Many of them, they memorize the process, even if it is application based, because our system is so huge. They get to memorize the process as well, and they don't have to do the process, they get the answers. So we work against the time and so on. So now the point that we are talking about is, when we are talking about assessment for learning or as learning, we are opening up new challenges, new frontiers for teachers and students. And we all need training and support in formulating those questions. So the way I had tried this out in my own context, I'll tell you, this is possible even with a 7th, 8th class student, even younger children. You can, in small ways, we can encourage students to attempt questions which are not just factual, but which are thought, which sort of makes them think. The answers would be multiple and we should be open to it. We cannot confine learning to MCQs and say that, okay, given these 3, 4 choices only, the Kaun Banega, Career Prati and other, we have a lot of uh, popular forms of quiz and learning, quiz which we see. But is that all that is about learning, or learning is more than just 4 multiple choices or factual answers? I guess all of you agree learning goes beyond those factual answers in real life. And therefore, we are talking about formulating questions, and this requires training for students and teachers at all levels, where they are encouraged in their textbook to look at questions which are not just factual but extrapolative, which are inferential in nature and so on, and we help them frame those questions, not just answer those questions. So when we are teaching a lesson or a concept, how about asking students to prepare their own question for that unit? This was again a practice I had seen a professor use it very extensively. So he would teach a session, and next time the assignment was, you frame 5 questions based on this chapter. And he would tell what are the different types of questions we can frame. So all cannot be MCQs. You need to have questions which require, let's say, matching or mapping, or you have a close variety of tests. You have got questions which require thinking, imagination, and so on. So interpretive question. So that's one way that we can encourage that. Let's move on. So we are talking about how we can flip the pyramid, how we can widen the scope for assessment as learning. So when we in the classroom, we assign students to ask questions, and encourage them to frame questions, not, rather than just answer questions. Okay, one of the practices that I had, and I'd like to share with the faculty members who are teaching in engineering and management institutes, is when when you begin a semester, let's say in 2026 you are going to have a new batch of students in January. This is the time that you start preparing in October. By November, you have a design for 3 months course or a 6 month semester that you are preparing. And what I would do in my practice at Gandhinagar PDPU is I would have my assessment scheme also share with them in the terms of what kind of assignments will come at what point of time, what are the descriptors, what is it that we are looking at for them to achieve, how many of them would be a group work, which of them can be presented in pairs and individually, and so on. So we just give syllabus, but if we delve deeper into assessment scheme, it helps students to be prepared well in advance. The teacher has thought through, and how I'll be building from output results of semester one or first test when we administer to the second one and third one. So ma'am talked about writing. uh, so one of the experiences in my own teaching experience was the students were supposed to write three as major assignments on which they'll be given feedback, and they had to re-prepare a redraft of it. So the time wouldn't allow us, but we can talk about having a class feedback largely on pre-agreed terms, that they will be given feedback on content or a structure or argument and so on. So selecting the theme and giving feedback. Dr. Preeti, you've raised hand. Would you like to say something, or you had raised it earlier? I'm sorry, I've kept you waiting.
I'm sorry, sir. That was by mistake. I think
Okay,
I raised
fine,
it earlier. That's
fine. It's all
sorry.
right. So we move on from there.
Excuse me,
We,
sir.
yes,
Excuse
please.
me, sir. This is Samraj Lakshmi.
Yes,
Now, we are just giving assignments and we take some time to evaluate. And my problem is if there is a time lapse between their performance and our assessment, the
correct.
spirit of assessing
True,
is getting lost.
true.
So, if the teacher assesses the student on the spot, even in writing,
Right,
in communication, oral communication, we are able to do immediately.
right.
But in writing, if you provide us with a model,
Sure.
which makes us, assess their writing immediately, the
Right.
spirit of learning writing would be kept up. That
Yeah.
is,
Excellent. Please don't forget, I'll be very soon jumping on to those scales and where descriptors of performances are there, which you can use. See, we are talking about a new concept. I agree with you. Writing is one of the most challenging things to work on, and we as teachers, we owe it to students. If we don't help them, they'll go ahead with a habit of copy paste lifelong. This is the reason why we have so much of blatant user plagiarism everywhere, not mentioning the source and so on. Anyway, coming back to it, I'll be, ma'am, thanks for bringing that up. That is, I think, definitely needed. We need descriptors of performance and also training. The students may not be able to do what you are asking them to do in one go. So you give the descriptors of performance and ask them to give feedback to each other, give a self-assessment check. I'll be showing you some of the tools.
sure, sure.
My point is, it may not work with the word go. You may have to, you yourself have to get used to, comfortable using that kind of checklist and tools, and the students also need training in familiarizing themselves, getting comfortable. So there will be silence, there will be awkwardness, but after a repeated use of such tools, I'm sure that they would find it useful and you will be able to also get benefit of it, and truly contribute to the students' writing. And I really appreciate you taking personal a note of it, that I want to improve my students' writing. And that is something a teacher can't blame. We keep saying primary school teachers didn't teach them anything. They don't know how to write. The secondary school teachers blame the others. College teachers blame the others. Recruiters blame the college teachers. Now, where does it stop? Somewhere we need to say, okay, this is where I take the responsibility. I'll do my bit, what I can do. So we'll look at that. I'll move out of this. So you're talking about, we looked at this concept of summative versus, the assessment of learning, for learning, and as learning. I'll be sending you out the the PDF form of this presentation, so you don't have to make a note of it. But you can say that if you are trying to make the students responsible and decision maker, if they are not, suppose your child has never been to, you have a 10-year-old child or a 15-year-old child who has never been to market to buy things, do grocery shopping, and you start sending him or her the first day, the child will not be able to do a good job. But then we need to allow that to happen. Let the child go, tell what you want. You want a potato of a certain kind, tell them. The child will make mistakes in picking up the right or wrong, but over a period of time, the child will learn how to select the right kind of things on the market. So same goes for, we are talking about, if student involving students in assessment and so on, this will not happen at one go. It requires time and so on. So we need to be able to invest our time and energy, resources to do that. Okay. So let's, before we do that, can we listen to a CFR description? Can we ask others to mute, please?
Me, sir, please turn off your microphone. Mr. K. Raju, Mr. K. Raju, turn off your microphone. Mr. K. Raju, please do it.
So we have to manually
Sorry, sir.
No, it's okay. So we have to, whenever we have a sound, so from the technical team, you can go ahead and mute that particular participant. That will, maybe they're not aware of it and the audio is on. So I'll just play a video. Please listen to it and tell me if the audio is available to you. If not, I'll play it again. Is the audio clear? Can you raise hand, please, if it is visible? Audio?
Sir, it's visible, but audio is not at come.
Okay.
It is visible. It is visible, but audio hasn't come yet.
Okay. I'll play the audio. I'll just stop sharing this. I'll enable the audio and play it. If not, so I'll just try and see that I'll include the audio. Yeah, wonderful. It works now. Yeah.
The English language.
Yes, sir. Now it's.
As a language learner or teacher, you may have heard of Common European Framework of Reference, or CEFR. But what is it, and why does it matter for English language learners? It's actually pretty simple. Different learners have different levels of language ability, but opinions about your English level can be subjective.
Sorry. Is it... Yeah.
Your friends may think your English is good, but an employer might think it is not good enough, and you may be better at some skills than others. For example, you may be able to read better than you can speak. We need a clear, objective way to describe language skills that everyone can agree on. This is what the CEFR provides. The CEFR breaks down language learning into 6 levels, which it calls A1 to C2. The starting point, A1, describes a very basic language level. As a learner, you can move up the levels until you reach proficiency, C2 level. This is a really advanced level. By describing what you can do in reading, writing, speaking and listening, the CEFR will tell you where you are on the journey from beginner, A1, through to proficiency, C2. There are many Cambridge English exams available for different ages and stages of learning, all matched to CEFR levels, from young learners through to university and the workplace, or simply for travel. The CEFR was developed by the Council of Europe with extensive support from University of Cambridge ESOL examinations. People from all over the world use the CEFR to explain what level of English they are at and what level of English they need. It is used by learners, teachers, universities, governments and employers. The CEFR has been very influential, and not only in Europe. It's been published in more than 35 languages, and descriptions of individual languages have also been developed. Cambridge is a partner in the English Profile Programme, which provides very useful descriptions of English grammar and vocabulary at each level of the CEFR. Understanding your language level will help you to achieve your goal, whether it's going on holiday abroad, studying at school or university, or getting a job. And that's why the CEFR levels are useful for everyone.
So, can you hear me? Is the audio clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, you heard about the CFR level. It would be good. Today, now we have another 10 minutes left. So, I'm not going to discuss a lot now. I'll be quickly sharing with you some document, and I'll also put it in the, group, the group that we have, WhatsApp group. Ma'am will share with you later along with my slides,
Sure,
which
sir.
will
Sure.
give you a lot of descriptors in Excel form, Excel sheet, and also Word document. What we are looking at is descriptors of performance of students. Yeah. Now we are looking at 6 levels here, but within A1 level or A2 level, which we look at it, C2 is a sort of a complete command over the language, full maneuverability. You can maneuver the language the way you want it and so on. A1, very basic level. Now within A1, there could be 100 descriptors. You see, in listening, speaking, reading, and writing, some of our students can't put a sentence together, let's say in writing. They are writing for different purposes. Now, what is this descriptors of performance tell you is, tell them where they are and how they can improve. So there are documents available, voluminous documents, very rich content where we can use them, as ma'am earlier mentioned, 7-point scale she has, or numerical basis scale. Instead of using numerical scale, you can use that numerical scale, but support it with descriptors of performance. So students know this is what they are able to do, this is what they need to do, and that will help them to do self-assessment. And also you can tell them, today you are here, today you got 12 out of 20, but if you do this, match this descriptor performance, you can move up to 15 or a 20. Yeah, so we need more descriptors of performance. We do not have, we say good, bad, excellent, and so on. The poor students which Dr. Srinivas mentioned, he is sent from class section A to section D as a punishment or promotion. But how does the child know what the child is not getting other than getting low marks? Does the child know where the child is lacking? So we need to give them descriptors of their performance. I repeat again and again the word descriptors of performance, and what that is what the CEFR has done in a great level. I'll just share with you an example of working with the students at Pratham NGO on portfolio, and let's listen to, and then I'll come back to descriptors of performance again. Uh, yes, sorry.
My name is Janvi Soni and I am from Government Girls Polytechnic. Along with improvement and learning of my English, Access gave me a platform
Can
to
you hear?
showcase my creativity. We had portfolio and
Yes,
vocab
sir.
card activity in which we were allowed to decorate it however we wanted to. Here are the examples of my vocab card. This is the front side and this is the back side. I have written word and its meaning in front and the sentence in back so that we get to know the meaning and how to use and where to use the word. So this is my portfolio. I have kept an index so that we get to know how many entries are there. This was the first activity which we did to introduce ourselves. Email writing. personal narrative, experiment, a day at American Corner. This is the first feedback given by Sir.
I'm not building on it, but this is an example of portfolio building, physical one. You can also have e-portfolio. A lot of work has gone where the students organize their learning. They take responsibility for their growth. So I showed you some example of vocabulary card and portfolio building. I'll show you
Hi
another
everyone,
example.
my name is Janvi.
Right.
एक क्लास में से और
Using textbook or start while using textbook or workbook, Amit sir always urged us to find words that are unknown or difficult to us, guess their meaning and confirm in the dictionary, and try to use them in our daily lives. That got me in the habit of always looking out to discover and learn new words, which in turn helps me in expanding my vocabulary tremendously. Second is reading. Last August, Amit sir introduced an activity to us designed entirely around novel reading. At first, I thought I wouldn't even be able to complete the first book I picked up, but once I took that up, I started reading like never before. And here I am now, more than a year later, and with almost 60 books worth of knowledge. This has helped me a lot in improving my English, spoken and written. Access
So the examples that I gave you are assessment unless we bring it as a part of a learning and development. It cannot stand alone. We will be doing only the policing job. If we want to make it a part of learning, then we need to think of activities, design exercises which will support the learning. And the children make them responsible for their own learning, equip them, provide them tools for assessment and so on. So this is a site you can create a rubric on your own. Unfortunately, lot of these sites, the first two are free. A lot of them have become paid ones. As you saw, Padlet, Kahoot, quizzes, initially they were all free, but now they all charge money for it. So you have less choice. You have to fall back on Google and so on. But then you need descriptors of performance. That is where I thought I'm going to skip these innovations you can read on your own. But a lot of things would depend on uh, being able to, when I said in the example of Gandhinagar, when I was teaching, not have assessment of one kind, but spread out assessment using various mechanisms. So there may be a university or government mandated assessment which you need to do. We can't help it because you need to score them, assessment of learning. But you can, as a teacher, when you have internal assessment, you can make it a part of learning and for learning by using different as learning, by using different techniques and so on. And this is where uh, LMS, if those of you who are using any learning management system that has inbuilt rubrics and so on, but you can also develop your own. I'll stop sharing this and share the rubric or descriptors of performance that ma'am asked. Thank you so much. Another 2 minutes of sharing, and then we will open this for any questions and any concerns, anything that you would like to ask. Let me just stop sharing this as I mentioned. And yes,
Sir,
so yes,
Namaste, sir. Again, this
yes,
is
please.
Dr. Srinivas. I'm a
Yes, Doctor.
lecturer in English in a government college, Autonomous Rajahmundry, sir, East Godavari district, Andhra Pradesh.
Wonderful.
We generally cater to the UG level students, wherein 3 semesters general English is taught as well as special English also.
Mhm.
But for the last 2 years, we have been encountering a positive challenge, of course. And we are the first government college to have foreign students, mainly from African countries. And we have 8 students from 5 different countries. And from
Okay.
Zambia and Zimbabwe, it's not a big challenge as they are very good at Cambridge-based English education, and they are good at understanding as well as reproducing. And this year, just 1 month ago, we got two new students. One from French-based African country, and another one is from Arabic-based Sudan. Actually, they learned English, but just like our purely Telugu medium students from rural villages,
Right.
that hiccups are there. But we would like to help them positively. Than in the traditional method, could you please suggest any app-based or any even of your CUP, any books that could help them with the help of figures, pictures, so that their cognitive levels would be good when they translate them into into their mother tongue, but
Right.
training them. So we would like to support them positively so that they
Yes.
could be on par with the other students.
Yes. Uh, Thank you, Professor Srinivas, for bringing a very specific issue. Yeah, submitting as run on the audio.
Sorry if it's a specific issue, yes, but
Yeah,
I thought
no,
you would be a right
no,
person
no,
to answer
that's
them.
perfectly fine. Uh, Professor Srinivas, I would love to respond to that question, but what I'll do is I'll get back to you on a one-to-one basis and
Surely,
respond. Please drop in
surely.
your email ID or something. I can help you with a lot of resources and so on. So that is not a major concern. But what I'd like to address here, which will benefit everybody, is if you are bringing something you want to transformative, want to change, bring in certain practices. See, you can bring one publisher, another resource from an app or a website. But what is sustainable on a regular basis, what I have seen from my own experience, I showed you the example of portfolio building or vocabulary card building. These are something which is very, I find it tangible, also something that makes them search, look at different options, and helps them organize their learning, by way of which they also develop this metacognitive skill of organizing their learning. I know, Dr. Srinivas, I'm not responding exactly to what you have asked for, but as I mentioned, I'll get back to you. I gave a very generic answer to how we can address this in a way which is sustained, which is a long period of time. Those students are there for 3 months and 6 months. So we should devise ways which will help them in the long run.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. And I'll actually meet you directly through
Absolutely.
mail or phone.
Please.
Thank you very much.
I'll be happy to connect. Yeah. So
Yes.
anybody else, I have brought my presentation to end, and these performance, descriptors of performance that you can see here, these are all in public domain, and I'll be happy to share these with you and pass it on. There are these descriptors which are there in Excel sheet as well, which gives you detailed descriptors of performance. See, descriptors of performance that is seen on your screen. uh, I'm sure you would benefit if you were to use it for providing feedback to students, guiding them, and so on. I'll bring my session to close here, and over to the organizers for the valedictory ceremony, because we have reached at 3:30 and I should not be exceeding the time limit. Yeah, I'll stop sharing this. Yeah, sorry. All the participants, I'll be sharing these materials. So even if you have not taken note of it, what I mentioned as descriptors of performance, some I could not show, but I'll pass it on as a material that you can refer to it. Thank you.
So,
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
sir, thank you very much for the entire session we had, and it was quite informative, and we really enjoyed. You were, with patience answering all the questions, and you helped me in person and all the session members altogether. And we have got a new perspective about evaluating our students and assessing their performance and assessing our performance to make our future classes more fruitful and academic. Now, thank you very much for being with us. But we want you to continue for the valedictory session because your words for the valedictory are really valuable, sir. Thank you
Sure.
very much. I also request all the participants to stay back. I'm happy that all the sessions attendance was literally good and you are active towards throughout the session. And I wish the same responses during valedictory as well when we ask you to give the feedback on all the 6 sessions. And our feedback form would be exhibited only after the valedictory. Now, within a minute, we are going to start our valedictory session. Thank you for being with us for all the 3 days and for all the 6 sessions with greater interaction. Once again, I really, really thank you on behalf of my college and my English division and freshman engineering department. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I hand over to Mrs. Chaitanya. Mrs. Chaitanya, please take over.
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible, ma'am? Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. You are audible.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, sir, for your intellectual, stimulating, and insightful presentation. Your inputs on assessment of learning, as learning, and for learning greatly enriched our understanding and added profound value for this FDP, sir. Thank you so much. Now, we shall move to the interactive segment. I request Ms. K. Sridevi, ma'am, Assistant Professor of English Department, to kindly take over. Just for the 2 minutes, ma'am. Sridevi, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. We request our participants to share if there is any question from your side. Sir is ready to take your questions and clear your doubts on this session on assessment. I request all the participants to raise questions. Please share your questions. Sir is ready to take your questions. Dear participants, your questions or your doubts are appreciable. Maybe there is
Great.
no doubt or no question from audience side, sir.
Ma'am, this
Everything
is
is
Dr.
clear.
Reena.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Please.
Ma'am, there might be some noise at my back because I'm in the mid of
It's
Unity
okay,
walk.
ma'am. You're
Yeah.
audible. You're audible. Come.
Yeah. Ma'am, I just want to ask sir because I could not understand the vocabulary cards and the significance in assessment. If sir can really, it will be appreciable on his part if he can really re-explain vocabulary card and significance.
Right. Uh, so while we are waiting uh, for the valedictory session, please feel free. I'll be happy to answer, Dr. Reena, your question about the vocabulary cards. That is one thing which I have used across all contexts that I gave you, my teaching experience. What did I do in my teaching, learning students? One of the key learning for me has been that students need to work on their vocabulary. In our context, particularly the students who come from regional medium, uh, they have a massive challenge of working on their vocabulary. So one of the interventions which have worked in my context, and you can try it out if it works for you, what I do is I take a chart paper, divide it into cut it into small parts like you have visiting cards. So if you take a size of visiting card, and I supply them initially as a way of setting the standard, helping them to understand how to make those cards. The students, the new vocabulary, new they term they come across in the lesson or whatever the task is set up, they make card, a vocabulary card, write the word in one side, and the other side of the card they write either the meaning or the translation in their first language or a picture or a drawing and so on. So we set a target in the class that by the first lesson, first week, we should have 10 to 20. In a week, month, we keep looking at it, how many students each one of them have made. So the Access Pratham program that we had, by the end of the 3 months, we would have some students who had made 200 vocabulary cards, some had made 400, and they would design it, especially girls. They would love to decorate it and so on. The boys would do, when they look at the others are doing, they get inspired. So not everybody does it, but yeah, that is a way of motivating them to learn vocabulary. And how we can make use of that as a tool for learning or assessment. One is, ask them to bring those vocabulary cards, shuffle them, have exercise activity built around that, and you can also integrate them in the assessment when you are using, you are using a unit you have taught, and you are doing some kind of assessment, and those vocabulary which have been taught or which students have brought up could be made part of the assessment as well. So that was an experiment of working with the students vocabulary, enhancing their language, and then in making it as something that they carry, they build. It is not a textbook that they have bought it from outside. The cards are made by them, and the volume grows. They revisit that works as a recycling and reinforcing those terms. So they learn to articulate that, they learn to write it, they learn to listen. When they listen to each other, they hear those words, so it becomes a part of their vocabulary. Hope I answered your question.
Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Now we move on to the validatory program. I welcome our principal, sir, and our convener, Dr. T. Satyanarayana, sir. A very warm welcome, sir. Now we'll start the session. We kindly request our convener, Dr. T. Satyanarayana, sir, head of the Department of Freshman Engineering, to address the participants.
Respected Principal Apparao Garu, Dean Academics, Dean IR, and Dean R&D, my dear colleagues, dear participants. Hope you all enjoyed enrichful sessions throughout these 3 days. So I could see Sanjay Gupta Garu really interacted very well with all the participants, and they started asking questions. And Sir mentioned that because of running of time, I could answer you later or something like that. It's really so helpful towards the participants. Start from K. Venkatreddy Garu, Tiflu Shillam has delivered a very good lecture on the first day itself. Later, Usha Garu and Suvarna Lakshmi Garu and other esteemed resource persons who made it convenient to deliver the lectures during these 3 days. I really thankful to all the resource persons for joining the 3 days faculty development program. More specifically, without active participation of participants, it is difficult to make the program successful. So I really thank all the participants also for sparing time and acquiring knowledge from the wonderful resource persons, from their delightful and insightful sessions, I can call it. So really, and hoping that all the participants will carry all the takeaways from these sessions and implement in the real-time teaching learning process. Definitely that would reach the student community, and that would help the student community in getting placements or for their future programs. I also thank college management and administrative, including our principal Garu, for encouraging us these kind of capacity building programs whenever we go. So thank you so much, all the administrative team members, and in particular, I would like to extend my appreciation and congratulations to the Division of English, specifically Professor Samraj Lakshmi Garu, who has
recently came back to the college and taken up this within no time. I can call it only 4 days. We discussed and she made it possible within no time. Congratulations, Samraj Lakshmi Garu, and all the English fraternity of our freshman department for their enthusiastic participation in making this program more successful. Thank you so much, all the English team and other faculty members who directly or indirectly helped our team in making online faculty development program, particularly CS Samsura, Senior Assistant Professor of Information Technology Department. All the participants, please carry the information that you acquired or knowledge you gained throughout this wonderful 3-day faculty development program, and you just pass on it to the student community. Then there will be real meaning of this kind of faculty development program. Hopefully, it will all be like so that will get more benefit out of it, along with other participants too. Once again, thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. As you said, really, we need to appreciate our three coordinators who took this responsibility in a huge responsibility. Now, I request one of our coordinator to present the report, sir. I request Dr. Padma Venkatamam, Professor of English Department, to present a report.
Respected dignitaries, esteemed resource persons, and dear participants and colleagues, a very good afternoon to all. It is with great pleasure that I, Dr. Padma Venkat, Professor and Coordinator, present the report of the National Level 3-Day Virtual Faculty Development Program held from 29th to 31st October 2025 on the theme New Frontiers in English Language Teaching. The program was meticulously organized by the English Division of the Freshman Engineering Department at Lakireddy Balreddy College of Engineering Autonomous, situated in Mailavaram, NTR District, Andhra Pradesh. This program was conceived with the objective of enhancing the professional competence of English language educators and equipping them with advanced knowledge, innovative pedagogies, and technology-driven strategies essential for today's dynamic educational arena. It aimed to empower teachers to adopt new approaches to teaching English, integrating research-based methods, digital tools, and inclusive practices to make learning more effective and engaging. The FDP received an overwhelming response with 195 participants representing various schools, universities, and technical institutions from across the country. The enthusiastic participation of teachers and researchers from various regions enriched the academic discussions and ensured a dynamic exchange of ideas throughout the sessions. The program was conducted over 3 days, consisting of 6 sessions, 2 sessions per day held in the morning and afternoon. Following the inaugural session on day 1, the first session was delivered by Professor K. Venkat Reddy, Department of Training and Development, IFLU, Shillong, on the topic Teaching Pronunciation and Accent Neutralization. Professor Reddy emphasized the importance of intelligibility, natural rhythm, and accent awareness in English language teaching. His insights on pronunciation as a bridge to effective communication were highly appreciated by the participants. The second session of day 1 was conducted by Dr. Ganga Mahato, Department of English, RIE Bhopal, who spoke on transforming texts into tasks. Dr. Ganga Mahato's session focused on transforming literary and non-literary materials into interactive classroom tasks that promote critical thinking and learner autonomy. On day 2, the morning session was delivered by Professor G. Suvarnalakshmi, Department of ELT, IFLU, Hyderabad, who presented an engaging session on using AI tools, chatbots, to facilitate language teaching. Her talk demonstrated how artificial intelligence and chat-based learning tools can enhance learner engagement, personalized feedback, and creativity in language learning. The afternoon session on the second day was conducted by Professor N. Usha, Department of English, Krishna University, Andhra Pradesh, on open educational resources and digital tools for teaching English. Professor Usha discussed various free and accessible online resources, emphasizing how digital platforms can support independent and collaborative learning in English classrooms. On day 3, the morning session was conducted by Dr. Ramamuni Reddy, Department of ESL Studies, IFLU, Hyderabad, on making classrooms multilingual and multi-level inclusive. Dr. Reddy shared practical strategies to accommodate linguistic diversity and varying proficiency levels in classrooms, promoting inclusivity and equity in English language teaching. The final session held this afternoon was delivered by Dr. Sanjay Kumar Gupta, Cambridge University Press and Assessment India Private Limited, on innovative assessment procedures. Dr. Gupta discussed innovative ways of assessing learners, communicative competence, integrating formative and performance-based assessment methods aligned with global standards. Each session focused on the integration of technology, digital pedagogy, and research-based innovations in English language teaching. The eminent speakers inspired the participants to move beyond traditional teaching methods, embrace blending learning, and utilize modern digital tools, including AI applications to enhance both teaching and learning. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. We are honored by the gracious presence of our principal, sir. Now I request our principal, sir, Dr. K. Apparao Garu, to address the gathering and share a valuable words. Sir, please, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Today's chief guest of valedictory session, Dr. Sanjay Kumar Gupta Garu, regional team leader, Cambridge University, and all the convener, coordinators, and participants. Very good afternoon to everyone. First of all, I would like to appreciate the participants from different states, and in our state also from different academic institutions, like even from the government degree colleges and engineering colleges. Really, that made me very happy. And I would like to appreciate the freshman engineering department, in specific the English division, for organizing a wonderful FDP on new frontiers in English language teaching. So that really helps the faculty members to improve their skills, and in turn that really helps help the students also. So nowadays, the communication skills are playing vital role to improve their employability opportunities. Normally in engineering colleges, the students may not pay attention with regular teaching methodologies if we adopt. So this particular FDP, I have gone through the topics also. So they have given insightful inputs on various aspects of English language teaching. So if you really implement those in our teaching learning process, and if you translate them into practice and if you are really taking them into the classroom, then really the learning process will be strengthened. Most of the times, there is a question like, we are teaching the subject, English subject, but are they learning? So if you want to improve the learning process, I think this particular FTP program has emphasized many aspects, online resources, and various assessment procedures using the artificial intelligence tools and all. So I'm requesting the participants, please take them into practice into our classrooms. That is the very important to improve the communication skills of our students with that objective. So I'm requesting everyone to make it in practice. So I take this opportunity to my sincere appreciate the all the resource persons like Usha Garu, Venkatreddy Garu, and Ganga Mehta Garu, and Sanjay Kumar Gupta Garu, and Suvarna Lakshmi Garu, and Ram Mohan Reddy Garu. So from different institutions like IFLU and Regional Institute of English. So Regional Institute of Education like Bhopal, like Mehta Garu, Ganga Mehta Garu. So involving the renowned persons from the renowned institutions really made this particular program a qualitative program. So I'm sincerely appreciating each one of you for making this particular program a grand success. I would like to once again, I would like to thank all the participants for your active participation as well as active learning in all sessions. So I wish you all the best in your future academic and professional endeavors. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now, I invite one of our eminent resource person, Dr. Sanjay Kumar, sir, to share a few words regarding our FDP. Sir, please, sir. Sir, please unmute yourself, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
I'd like to thank for the wishes Dr. Apparao Garu, Principal Garu, and Dr. Satyanarayana, Professor Samrajji Lakshmi, and the entire team of Lucky Reddy, Bali Reddy College of Engineering. It was a privilege to be a part of this. I could see the entire team working effortlessly, with a lot of energy and enthusiasm, trying to see that the participants join, share the information in a timely manner. And it was very good to be a part of it. I was there for the inauguration. I heard Professor Venkat Reddy also. So it's a good opportunity to interact, and more than 100 participants from across the country participated. This is an opportunity for faculty development and professional development for all the participants. I learned a lot from interacting with the participants. So it's a choice that the participants made, going away from Facebook and Twitters and others, and to engage in their own professional development. So this shows the commitment for our own growth. And I think this is something, this needs to be appreciated, that we take some time out for our growth and development. We teach, we do work, but then also we spend time for our own growth. And I have personally benefited from interacting with all of you, listening to the participants and the information that was exchanged as part of this FPP. Very happy to be part of this entire endeavor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Your feedback means a lot for us to conduct more and more FDPs. Thank you so much, sir. Now, I'm very thankful for Dr. Venkat Reddy, sir, who once again just spared us some time for us for this validatory session. Now, I invite Dr. Venkat Reddy, sir, to share a few words. Sir, please.
Can you hear me now? I forgot to. Thank you, ma'am, for inviting me back to stage, Lakiridi Balreddy College of Engineering, for this valedictory session, 3-day of 6 different presentations at a national level faculty development program on new frontiers in English language teaching. Respected principal of Lakiridi Balreddy College of Engineering, organizers, distinguished speakers, or what do you say, presenters, and other participants who have signed up willingly for this 3-day uh, presentation come workshop on faculty development. Can you all hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
I wish you a very happy afternoon, bordering on evening. Here it's already evening, very dark in Geelong, quite cold. I'm sitting in a room where there is a room heater. So it's a very complex geographical experience in our country. Uh, yes, I think we need to brace up, take these opportunities to also invite colleagues from schools, colleges, and places of higher learning to come together to voice our concerns about language teaching and how we can surmount some of the problems that we face in making our learners improve, learn, already learned, improve their communication skills. You know, before 1990, I mean, 90 is an important, 90s are important years for English language teaching, training, learning in our country, because it's the first time we realized that we actually have to pay attention to language teaching and learning. In the 90s, Government of India signed an agreement which is worldwide known as GATT agreement, General Agreement on Tariff and Trades. Thereby, we became member of what is today known as globalization. And the GATT agreement got rechristened in the early 90s and having its office in New York called World Trade Organization. The promise that at that time the government in power made was that in the government sectors, since we are all licensed, Raj was ruling the roost, we are unable to provide jobs to our youth. If we open our market to private players, it will also bring along numerous jobs to the youth who are coming out of schools, colleges, and professional educational institutions such as engineering colleges, because by then we started offering engineering and professional education in the private sector. But the government was not ready to provide jobs to all of them. They thought this would address that particular demand for employment for those who were educated. Then we became globalized. And that's when I am sure you would have also had heard about something called call centers, which in technical terms is called BPOs, business process outsourcing. And call centers started coming up, pitching their tents on the outskirts of towns, cities and towns. And that's when Mark Tully, some of you who are familiar with media, familiar with broadcast media, TV media, newspapers, would have heard about this gentleman called Mark Tully, who used to, write stories for BBC, and who was honored by Government of India with numerous coveted awards such as Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan, and he made, although British, born to British parents in Kolkata during the British Raj, he decided to stay back in India, and he's more Indian than any other Indian. He toured the country as to what's happening to job market as promised by the government before it took such a monumental, paradigm shift that became known to be globalization. He toured the country. So what happened to the youth? What happened to the promised jobs? Did really youth land good jobs because of the proliferation or the appearance of these private players coming into the market? He toured the country and he wrote a book. The name of the book is Non-Stop India. In that book, there is a chapter. I think some of you who are serious readers and interested to know what's happening, at least those who are in the field of English language education, must know how things changed in our country as a result of certain political and economic decisions, how they influenced our policy makers, particularly the educational policy makers, and how certain decisions have changed the status of English in our country and all. And one of the chapters that the book contains is India Divided. And when I first saw that chapter, what is so great about somebody in 1990s talking about India divided? India anyway was divided in 1947. And again, why are we talking about the divided India now? This time, having read the chapter, he painted a very grim picture. India is again divided. And this time, the entity that divided is not religion. And the entity that is divided this Indian youth and India in particular is English language. English language divided India into two halves, and one minority, another one majority. The minority English users, he wrote in his book, claimed 95% of all the jobs came our way as a result of our becoming global members, globalized, part of the globalization. And majority, 90 to 95% of all the jobs were cornered by Indian youth who could use English, the urban Indian youth who studied in English medium. But as Gandhiji used to say, India lived in the village and the entire rest of India could not run the race because they were unable to communicate in the English language. In fact, that is situation very much critical. It's a very disturbing job market that was pictured as a result of the research conducted. His tours have given him clear cut information that English language divided India, and all the new wave jobs that came to our country were all English-centric, requiring English language, and were all cornered by those students or youth who studied in English medium schools. Now, what we thought would happen, but happened no doubt, but the jobs went only in favor of those urban youth who were able to use English for communicative purposes. And the real India, the rural India, fell behind in running that race. And at that time, Government of India appointed a committee, which is now in the annals of educational history. You will read it as National Knowledge Commission, NKC it's called. And this commission was headed by a person by name Satyanarayana Patrudu, who is famously known in his anglicized name as Sam Pitroda, who was very influential during Rajiv Gandhi's time. Under his stewardship, leadership, a commission was appointed by UPA 1, and that commission, it took about 2 to 3 years and produced a report, and the report was submitted to UPA 2 under the leadership of Manmohan Singh, who was also one of the architects of globalization, the main person being our own PV Narasimha Rao. He was the Prime Minister at that time, and Manmohan Singh was the Finance Minister, and together took a decision, and that's when we changed our economic, industrial, as well as business-related policies by becoming a member of the World Trade Organization. Now, what does the committee say? The first point the committee emphasized was, in order to be able to accommodate the educated rural youth and as well as to make them run and land jobs, the only way is to give them English education, not English as one subject in the schools and colleges, but let's turn all our education into English medium. It sounds very, very, interesting to me, because in the government schools we used to start teaching English from class 6 onwards, and now the committee says that not just teaching English as one language, teach all the subjects in the English language, make all schools, government run schools, privately run schools should provide education in English medium. Now, what kind of a government was it? It was a coalition government. And most of the, the strength for that government, UPA, United Progressive Alliance number 2, comes from the Hindi heartland. Peoples like Mulayam Singh Yadav, peoples another Yadavs from Bihar, and they objected, saying that no, we can't have such a thing. Therefore, the recommendation of the committee was neither tabled nor accepted in the parliament. But some kind of understanding was sent across the country that wherever it is possible, we could convert our schools into English medium schools. Therefore, our rural youth, our students who are studying in the rural will also be able to land the jobs. I think there's a long history to that, and I guess what the English department of Lucky Reddy, Bali Reddy College of Engineering is doing is a continuation of the discussion that started as a result of rural youth not finding jobs because they lack English communication skills. Another step is a national level 3-day virtual faculty development program to sensitize English teaching faculty in order to be able to provide English communication skills so that our rural students, our semi-urban, as well as students studying in the countryside, there was a huge effort in the earlier government that happened in Andhra Pradesh. I don't know what the state of affairs now in Andhra Pradesh school education system. It all had its roots in the grim picture painted by Mark Tully and other socially conscious journalists and writers, as well as certain governments which appointed committees. Committees, after a careful study, came to a very, well, devastating in a way, but also encouraging in some other way, educationally, culturally, no doubt. It will erode into our what is called Indian knowledge system, Indian culture, but you can't help it since we have to provide employment and opportunities to land jobs to our youth. Certain governments took certain decisions from the recommendations of the National Knowledge Committee, and this is an effort in the direction to improve the teaching skill set of the teachers working in schools. I got to know that there are also school teachers who signed up for this 3-day workshop faculty development program on new frontiers in English language teaching, learning, and I am sure these 6 presentations by scholars, presentations by practicing experts in the English language education would have given some change in their attitudes towards language teaching. I am sure this is one of the steps that all colleges, all schools must also take up for bettering the English language, for improving, developing the English language teaching and training. Now that you've got to go, your buses must be waiting, you've got to go home and all that. So
Thank you, sir.
because of that, I take leave of you. Thank you very much for letting me say why actually we've got to, we reached this stage where there is English medium being talked about in the schools and colleges. Thank you very much. Over to the organizer. Hello,
Thank you,
Sanjay.
sir. Thank you so much for spending time for us. Thank you so much, sir. Now, I request one of our participants to spare half a minute to give a feedback on our FTP. Please, participants, try to understand. Kindly just give us a feedback for half a minute because all our dignitaries are waiting. Let us wind up soon.
Ma'am,
Good
Linda said
afternoon to all.
that it's a very fruitful and purposeful program that was organized by Lakiridi Balredi Engineering College. And we thank the organizers for selecting such wonderful resource persons who have delivered interactive sessions, which is unseen in other online FDPs in general. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now I invite Mr. B. Srinivas Reddy, sir, to propose a vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am B. Srinivas Reddy, Assistant Professor, English Division, LBRCE. I am privileged to propose a vote of thanks for this FDP. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for participating in this FDP. The President of LBRCE is Sri G. Srinivas Reddy Garu. The Principal of LBRCE, Dr. K. Apparao Garu. The Vice Principal, Dr. B. Ramesh Reddy Garu. Various Deans of LBRCE, convener of this FDP and also HOD of FED, LBRC, Dr. T. Satyanarayan Garu, coordinators, especially Dr. B. Samrajalakshmi, co-coordinators, the technical supporter of this FDP, Mr. M. Samsivarao Garu, without which this program may not run as smooth as of now. The non-teaching staff of our department, Mr. B. Sam Prasad Mukherjee, and the participants from all over India bringing in truly national spirit. A heartfelt thanks for making this event a very big success. The FDP program is made up with many learned professors who discussed their augmented presentations to enhance our ability of teaching to a far better level than before. To quote some of our presenters' key themes, language is confidence, language is imitation. To teach language, catch them young by Dr. K. Venkatreddy Garu. Converting texts into tasks. Learning is a process, not a matter by Dr. Ganga Mahato Garu. Riddles to create interest among students and using AI tools to save our time by Dr. G. Suvarnalakshmi Garu. Use of open education resources to make teaching more interesting by Dr. Usha Garu. Advanced learners in the classroom to support slow learners. Reflection is the core of our profession. Finding a way to supplement our syllabus by Dr. C. Ramamun Reddy Garu. The valuable insights and importance of assessment at various levels for self-learning of a student by Dr. Sanjay Kumar Gupta Garu. Thank you all, sirs and ma'ams, for your inputs. Once again, we are incredibly grateful to all the participants from every corner of our country for their enthusiastic involvement, which made this program such a wonderful achievement. Finally, let the spirit of the presentations by our esteemed guests inspire us to put our knowledge into action and make a positive impact on students. Thank you all. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. With this, we formally conclude the faculty development program. On behalf of organizing team, we express sincere gratitude to all our four pillars, principals, sir, deans, HODs, and all the faculty members who technically supported us directly and indirectly. And I wanted to specially thank all the resource persons and participants who continuously support us for all the 3 days. And now we are going to conclude the session and wishing everyone continues the academic progress and professional excellence. Thank you. Have a wonderful day ahead. Dear participants, you are going to get a feedback link. Thank you. With this, we are going to end the session. Jai Hind.